Okay, so shall we start for now? So the last class, right? It was more emphasis. I mean, we've emphasized more on the SDLC process where we covered waterfall model and the V model. Now today we will be covering the agile model, or nothing but the Scrum, which is this one is being used widely across the globe. The reason being, right, uh, there are classic examples and one second. Okay, so if you see, right, uh, uh, I mean, before I go into the depth of agile, I just wanted to show you the success rate. Okay, so 42% have been successful projects when they used agile model, and if they used the waterfall model, it's 14%. Now, why does this happen? Okay, let's take a simple example. So today I have a requirement. Okay, say suppose simple thing is, if everyone is using banking, if everyone is available of aware of banking sector, we have the fund transfer using NEFT in India. What it does is it allows users to send the money to other banks, and it will take at least 4 to 5 hours to get the amount credited into the payee account. Now, ideally, that would not be a suggestible thing, or customers may not like it. So what they want is they want the money immediate transfer, because they want to have the same facility just like how the transfer happens to the same bank account. Okay, so that's where the process, the IMPS model has come into place, where you can immediately transfer the payment. So that is immediate payment service. So say suppose it's just like this. If I am still using NEFT, I am nowhere in the league, right? The changes are happening, so I should upgrade to IMPS. So what happens in waterfall model is you have to first learn the concept, then initiate it, then analyze, then design, construct, test, and then deploy. So it will take a lot of time to upgrade to the changes. Okay. So in order to overcome this, they came with a new model called as agile model. Okay. So this agile model, what it does is it helps us to do things in an iterative way. So what, say today I got a simple requirement. Now I'm analyzing this requirement and then designing it based on the concept. In between, if there are any changes to the market, or if there is a change to the customer requirement, they will revisit again the concept, and they will change the design, or they will change the business. Okay, so that is what you said, that is available, that particular agileness is available in agile model. So generally customers prefer to use the agile model. Now agile has another advantage where all the stakeholders, unlike in V model or waterfall model, all the stakeholders will be involved in the initiation and analysis part. Say, the general conception in the industry is testers are not required in the analysis meeting. Only the test manager will sit. But at the end of the day, testers are the one who know about the business, or who know about the system. Ideally speaking, they should be knowing about it. So they also sit in the initiation and the analysis part, and they will come up with the feasibility analysis, or whether the requirement is can be done or not. So that way, in the agile model, everyone is included and everyone is made part of it. Even the same is done in what do you say, in waterfall model, but that is a series of incident. Like, see, once conception is done, then initiation will be done, then analysis. So what you said, the analysis is done only when the initiation is done, which will it will take some time for it. But in agile, you mix few things which are common or which have common in between them, and then you do it, and everyone is involved here. Okay. So this is a very short release kind of model. Say I don't know the complete requirement, or the requirements are very agile. I mean, they may keep on changing. Just like if you are creating reports, right? One day a customer may require one report, and the other day they want it to see it in a different way. So I'm just giving an example. So what it is happening, the requirements of the customers are changing. It's not stable, or the features of that particular application are changing in a fast pace. In that way, if we have a short release or short cycles of development, it would be very useful, because if you want to do any changes, you can come back and you can revisit it, and you can again change the changes, right? So that's the advantage of having short release cycles. The second is, in other models, the customer involvement may or may not happen. Okay. uh, 70 to 80% of time end customer will not be included. Only when we are doing the UAT testing, right, during that particular point customer will be involved. But here, right, in agile model, I mean, not all the customers will be involved, but someone who will be representing, like it, say suppose a BA person or a end user, like a few sample of end users will be there. It's like you are giving a beta version to them, you test it, and if you say you give us the feedback on it. So that sort of agileness will be there in this particular model. And you say the obvious, for obvious reason, the response to the change will be immediate, not like in the other models, right? And it's very interactive, and individuals feel that yes, this is my product. So because everyone is on, that's the reason you will find a lot of feedback kind of thing in this model. Okay. So for obvious reasons, the advantages are it saves the time and money for us, right? And it would be very focused on the application rather than the documentation, right? Because you know what is that it is required, and you will not be worried more on the documentation. And that way, from the management perspective, you will have a lot of daily meetings and discussions on this project, which will help in resolving the issues well in advance. Okay. And the resolution will be immediate. This is a tricky part. Requirements changing even in the last stage of development at times will be a problem. But as it is a simple and sprint short release cycles, you can always change the model, and you can revisit the changes also. And we can extend the, what you said, the duration, saying that oh sorry, this is the requirement added in the last stage, we will do it in the next phase. Okay. So we'll break the requirement to the part where it satisfies the requirement before the changes and after the changes, and whatever changes are done after the new request, that would be carried forward to the next cycle. So that way the entire piece will not break. But in waterfall, right, we have a set of requirements already defined, and if they, at the end of testing, if someone comes, or at the end of development, if someone comes, you have to stop the release. You have to go back to the initiation and analysis part, and you have to rework everything from the start. Okay. Here the halt or the stopping of the release will not be there. At least you will say that from the next sprint we will cover it. For obvious reasons, because everyone is involved, you will have a lot of feedback, right? So the end result will be of high quality. Okay. Now the disadvantages is, say suppose the customer is not clear of the requirement. If he keeps on changing it, right, it would be very shabby. But in ideal situation, that will not happen. I mean, customer will be at least clear on what he requires, right? And for obvious reasons, it would be discussed among all, and then only they will go forward. Okay, so at least CMM level 5, I mean the maturity level concept which we have defined, right, which we have discussed yesterday, those all will be in place, will be already in place. And for that reason, even though if the customer goes off track, we can at least what do you say, cover it up. Okay, 90% this situation will not come in real time, because money is honey, right? Now, for the obvious reasons, the documentation and designing part, there is a lag in it, right? So that's the disadvantage here. Now, if you take a smaller projects, this will look fine on paper at least. Now, when you come into reality, right, obviously, if it is a big and complex project, you don't know the impact of the changes that are requested at the end of the development, or in the during the end stage of development, right? So now, if you have to do the impact analysis during that situation, it will take a lot of time, and for that reason you have to stop, or the what do you say, the system or the development may stop because of that. So during the big and complex projects, ideally agile methodology of doing work is not suggested. And this one is really applicable only for normal projects, not for the critical ones, because if you go into the real time way, uh, you if you have to change anything, right, the impact analysis should be done very carefully. Okay, so else it will become a fragile product, right? So for that reason, in very critical products development, people will not go for agile. So in order to solve this, right, they came up with a hybrid model where you mix the agile methodology along with waterfall model. So that we call it as a hybrid system, hybrid methodology. Now, I just wanted to show the differences both on the planning and what I mean. Sorry, in I mean, I have break up this what do you say, differences in planning and process way. Okay, so let's discuss in the process format. Okay, so in if you see the quality wise, the quality focus is all the aspects in the SDLC and agile. Okay, Shoaib is asking, Shoaib is asking, how can it save time and money while requirements are changing at the last moment? Okay, so that's the tricky part. Say suppose, as I said earlier, right, I'm developing a fund transfer system where the amount will be transferred after 6 hours. Now the industry has changed, and recently a new product called as IMPS came into place, where you can transfer the amount immediately to the other banks. Now, as a product developer or a product owner, say suppose I am the product owner. Now I am not looking into the changes that are happening in the industry, and I am developing. I have made my developers develop the product based on my requirement. I am not looking into the end, what do you say, industry standards. Now I have developed and it went live and no one is using it. For me, it's waste of time and money, right? If I would have learned about these changes, I will immediately what do you say, implement it into my current project. That when how that happens, because I was the sole person who was involved in doing the requirement analysis and requirement confirmation, right? So only one pair of eye will not solve the problem. I mean, I may not be knowing about the industry, right? So when others are also involved, they will come up with the suggestions and feedback. So that way, I will know, yes, hey, this is something is wrong here, or something has been changed. If I implement that, the product will be more niche and more useful to all. So that way, my time and effort and money is not wasted. So it's a tricky part if you see in two ways. Or say suppose I am not the other way around is, if I'm not, what do you say, if I'm not sure about the requirement, I'm developing something, and in between someone came and said that, hey, this is not how it should work. During that point, the entire time and money is wasted, right? So it's a tricky situation, but 90% it has been successful. For so if you see on a high level, 42% it has been successful. Okay, hope it answered you, Shiv. Okay. So from the quality point, all the entire SDLC ways, like project initiation, conceptualization, designing, everywhere, everyone is involved, and there's a lot of feedback involved. So that way, the entire quality of the product will be very good when you use agile method. But in waterfall, you will do it as step by step. First analysis, then design, then code, and then testing. Okay. Quality control, as everyone is involved, it's very easy to find find and fix the what is it, defect or change request in the initial state itself. Okay, but whereas here, right, when every the system, there is a few where there are few points where we will fix it early stage. But what happens is, if you would have developed the product and at the end of the testing you found a defect, what happens is you have to fix it again. Then if you have to fix it, you have to redesign it, develop it, and then give it to testing. So there's a possibility of fixing it late in waterfall model. Okay, in agile it is very easy to find. Continual improvement will be done only at the end of the release. So once the product is released, you will do it. But in agile, right, you will do it in the every sprint, or you broke it into pieces, right, bits and pieces. So you will implement it in the immediate this thing. But release is like something like 3 months or 4 months kind of thing. Waterfall generally takes a long duration, but here it will be just 20 to 30 days of sprints will be there in agile. Okay, risk identification, see, I don't want to classify it as waterfall model doesn't identify the risk at all, but it's like this: you are trusting the person who already created the requirements. Okay, it solely depends on the person who have created that particular model, or who have created that particular requirement. Okay, but whereas in agile, right, as all the stakeholders are involved and there's a lot of feedback, the amount of risk will be easy, and the identification and mitigation of that particular risk will be very easy. Okay, now if anything went wrong or you have learned from it, so if you do the postmortem, it would be at the end of release. Again, 2-3 months of time will be wasted. But here, at the end of every sprint, that is 1 month of cycle, you will do the retrospection or the postmortem. Customer feedback will be given only when the what do you say, the project is completed. But at the end of every sprint, because you broke the entire product into pieces, right? So one piece tested, you will get the feedback. So simple example is, let's not confuse you here. The simple example is, login page has to be defined for Gmail. So initially you thought of coming with username, password, forgot password link, and then sign up link. Now, if you have to develop the entire login page, it will take 2 months. So that's waterfall model. But in Agile, right, what you will do is, you will create username, password, and submit link first. Okay. Then you will add forgot password. Then you will add sign up, or you will add first sign up, then forgot username, password, and then the forgot password. So you broke the complete product into 3 different cycles. Okay. So instead of waiting for 3 months here or 2 to 3 months here, you have given an initial piece of code upfront in this agile model in the first month itself. where people can play around and say that, hey boss, I don't see the password limitations, or there's no validation on password, do this. Or add a special characteristic mandatory for password when you create it. So that sort of changes can be given here in Agile, but that is not possible in waterfall model. Okay, hope you got the point. Now, effort estimation. This is the most important part for any business owner. Okay. Now, what am I doing in waterfall models in the login page itself? That particular requirement. The project manager, based on his experience, past experience, and his understanding about the requirement, he will get the estimates and he will get the approval, and that is fixed. Now there are pros and cons. What if that particular budget is too much? Okay, and there's a lot of money you already parked for that particular requirement, and you're not using it for say that the customer is not using that money for any other purpose. Okay, that's one scenario. Second is, they have given a small budget to it, but the requirement, while doing the requirement or in between the design phase, you felt that, hey, this money is not enough, I want some more. Now again PM has to go back, he has to revisit his estimates, and then he has to get the approval. Okay, this particular point is a very process or a time taking process here. Whereas in Agile, right, I already broke it into three pieces, right? So for every sprint, I know this is the effort and this is the amount. So say suppose this in waterfall model, it required $10,000 to create the login page. But in Agile, I broke it into three pieces. So 3,000, 3,000, and 4,000 is the estimate, what is the effort estimated. Or 10 days of time is required for the entire project. Here I need 3, and 4 days. Okay. So when I did that in 3 days, if I complete it, it's well and good. If not, I will revisit my estimation and then do it for the next sprint, right? So this is very agile and very easy to have a breakup in doing the effort estimation. Now, all these, right, based on all this, again, if you see the scheduling part, you have to do the complete total number of days for all these points included. Okay, but whereas, right, there's no overlap here. But in Agile, right, I do the development parallelly, I'll start testing. Okay, so now there will be an overlap between the development and testing. Okay, and that will be given in the Agile methodology. But here you have to do it in tandem, and all and the end of the day, you will not know which, say suppose my development activity has been delayed. So till that time, the testers have to wait and they have to sit idle. But here there's a little possibility of the, what do you say, testers being waiting for the requirement, because they can work on the next sprint. They will be knowing they will do the requirement analysis about the next sprint at least. That way, there's no wastage of time in agile methodology. Now, plan review, again, as I said, right, by name itself, you have to stick to that project baseline. Say, suppose I will come up with that Gmail login page in 20 days time or a 10 days time. I have to complete it in 10 days. If not, I'll take 2-3 days to do it. Okay. So that's the project planner. But in Agile, right, I already broke it into 3, and 4 days. So 3 days for initial username password, and 3 days for forgot password link, and 4 days for sign up. So now I know if I have completed the, what is the forgot password piece of code development, I can jump into the sign up page. Okay, so you can always revisit on the plan that you have created. Nothing will stop you here. Okay, because it's already broken into pieces. You can move into the next phase. Okay, so that's the advantage of having agile. Any doubts so far? The final one is completion. Now, when this is the most trickiest part in every project. When will you say that this project is done? When you feel that the end user requirement is met. Now, who will define that? In waterfall model, only when it goes to UAT and when it is accepted by the what do you say, the end user, then only you say that product is done or the project is completed. But here, right, as everyone is involved in every phase, okay, you can say that, hey, by end of this day the project is completed, right? So that sort of what do you say, completeness will be there when you have to define whether this project is completed or not. Okay. Now story closing. I mean, story closing in the sense, I have completed the project. Now, how will I say that this particular project is completed? So I have to create everything like release notes or project code. Everything I have to do. What do you say? Everything has to be defined here. I mean, everything will be defined in all these phases. Sorry, all these models, but the it has to be done phase by phase here. But here, only when the feedback is given, right, then only you will say that this story has been closed. Okay, which means if I have a high, what do you say, high defect with of high severity, which are not closed yet, I will not say that this story is completed. But here, as I have to release the product by during that particular timeline or duration, I will say, hey, these are the defects available, which are known defects, which will be fixed in the next release. Okay. So by saying that, you will you will intimate the customer that these are the known defects we already have, and you can overlook them, and you can test or you can use the other requirements that are being developed. Okay, here we have a set of standards for it, saying that how this defect is closed or how this particular story is closed. Okay, the artifacts, that's what the release notes, all these things will be delivered once the project is coming to end. Whereas in agile, right, uh, at the end of each sprint you will be giving. Here at the end of every release you will be giving. Again, these are all small things which are not of what do you say, this is little difference between here in the waterfall model and agile. If you think in that Gmail login page, at the end of at the end of the release you will give it here. At the end of every sprint you will give it here. That's nothing much difference. Okay, it's just that you are giving it here 3 times. It's here you are giving it 1 time. Now, on a high level, right? Again, these are the high level definitions. The distance between customer and developer will be very, I mean, just like not by distance wise, but the end user knowing about the requirement will be taking some time here. But here it would be short because it is broke up into bits and pieces, right? At the end of every sprint, customer will be knowing, hey, what is the requirement that is being developed. Okay. Now time between specification and implementation is long here and it's very short. That's what. So you get the feedback immediately. You know what is the specification in it and you implement it immediately. So here it is short, but it will take long time here. Time to discover problems. Again, it is long here. This is short here. Now, this is the trickiest part in any software cycle. Okay. Gone are the days where you will wait for some time where you know the entire requirement and you develop it and you wait for the product to come. But these days you have release 1.1, release 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, where small requirements get on added. You need not wait for the entire requirement to complete, right? So this is long term perspective. This is very short term. Okay. For obvious reasons, for any change, if you have to respond or the system has to respond, it is low here, but it is very fast or very high here in Scrum. Okay. So any questions so far? Shoaib is asking, testing can be done at the end of every sprint in Agile. Yes, right? So, as I said earlier, you need not wait for the entire project to be completed. We broke the login page of Gmail into three pieces, right? Login, username, password, and the second phase will be forgot password, and third phase will be sign up, right? Or you can keep it in any of the order. So you need not wait, unlike in waterfall model, for the entire login page to be completed. So you are doing it at the end of every sprint. Yes. Yeah. So did it answer your question, Shoaib? Um, yeah. So I'm done for today. You have any questions? Please just let me know. Or do you want more examples? Yeah, so all these videos will be posted in the website. Okay, and today is the last free session. From tomorrow it would be a paid session. So please be noted about it. Okay, so Lata is asking, can we have an example on the banking domain? Okay. Okay. Sorry. Lata is asking whether an example in banking domain. So say suppose banks, ICICI allows the user to activate. If you add a payee, it will be activated after 30 minutes. And if you want to activate an account in HDFC Bank, it will take 12 hours. Now say suppose RBI came up, or the central governing body came up with an rule that, hey, you have to activate the account within 15 minutes. Now, say ICC is still developing this product, and HDFC is still developing this product, and ICC is using agile methodology, and HDFC is using waterfall model. Okay. Now, what happens while developing this product? ICC bank has split into this into an example, like first we will do it for the same bank, and then for other banks, and then for IMPS. So this is how they define the entire product into three different sprints. But what HDFC done is, it is using waterfall model, and it is the end of the product release, you will get addition with the same bank, addition to the other banks, and IMPS. Now, say waterfall model is taking 30 days, and this what is ICC bank is taking 10, 10, 10, that is 30 days. So it's split into 10, 10, 10. Now at the end of 10th day, RBI gave with the rule that hey, you have to do it in 15 minutes. Now what ICC bank will do is it will revisit its delivery model, its concept, and that in at the end of the 10th day, obviously for same bank it's developed, right? So it will go back, do the changes for same bank, and it will also implement the changes for the next 2 sprints. So that way it will come up with a clear idea. But in waterfall model, here also they are clear. But what they will do is, at the end of 10th day, say suppose 3 developers are working on parallelly on this, or parallelly on this. So they have developed a piece of code already. After 10th day, they will have to come back to the initiation phase, come up with the impact analysis, do the changes to the design, and they will have to rewrite the code. So what is it happening? The entire 10 days effort is wasted. So they have to move their product release to 10 days ahead. Initially it was 30 days. Now they will move it to the 10 more days, right? So that's the difference in agile and waterfall model when we use in the banking sector. Hope you understood this, uh, Lata. Ali, don't worry about it. This is for your understanding only. Okay. Um, it is not at all an issue. Okay. Shruti is asking, do we need to know what technology website is used to develop before we start the testing? Yes, actually. See, there is a two types of testing in. There are two types of testing. One is black box testing, and the other is white box testing. From a black box testing perspective, you will be testing only what you see in the front end. Okay, that's the functionality testing. So you need not know, or you need not understand the code that is being written in the backend. So for you, it is not needed. But there's other type of tech testing, that is white box testing, where you test the code how it is written in the backend. So if you are doing white box testing, or if you are a white box tester, only then you should know what is the technology that is used to develop that particular project. Okay. So what white box tester does is, they will write a piece of code. Okay. So now you have to validate whether the code is as per the standards, or whether the logic is written will work correctly in the front end or not. So that sort of testing will be done in white box, and that can be done only if you know the coding language. Okay. So it is up to us whether we want to be in black box, whether we want to work as a black box tester or a white box tester. Okay. Shruti, does it answer? Did it answer? Uh, Tamrat, you had a question?
Hello,
Yeah, hello.
Samrat.
Yeah, you had a question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think I have one experience about this waterfall and then agile project,
Okay.
especially when I'm working in an agile project. You say mostly we use agile methodology for like not critical projects, right?
Okay. Yeah. Right.
But I
Ideally.
think,
Yeah. Yeah.
but we are doing like a healthcare project. That's a kind of critical, right? Health security.
Yeah.
So we are using the Agile. So that's why I confused why you say.
Yes, that's the reason I was saying. So ideally speaking, that's what we say in agile. So that is where we came with the hybrid model, hybrid agile, where we mix the agile methodology along with the waterfall model and say that this is what you are seeing. So these days, we are saying agile also is hybrid one. That's the next level to actual agile methodology. So
Mm-hmm.
ideally, that's the reason I said ideally when we say agile will not be used for complex projects, because the requirements are not freeze there, right? The requirements
Yeah.
keep on changing, and healthcare industry is something where you have a lot of regulations defined by the government. So you have to go by the standards, right? So the requirements
Mm-hmm.
keep on changing. So ideally speaking,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot change the requirement in the middle, but healthcare industry allows you to change the requirement in the middle, right? So that's the reason people
Mm-hmm.
go for agile.
Yeah.
But if you go by the complexity, it's very complex. So if you have to change anything, you have to revisit the entire sprint and go back to the square one again. So ideally speaking, in a
Mm-hmm.
complex environment, we will not use agile. But as the industry demands, they have changed a little bit of agile, and they came up with this hybrid model where you can do it, what do you say, in bits and pieces again. Say something like that. Sprint one is of 20 days. Sprint two will start at the end of 11th day of sprint one. So they have overlapped the sprints, wherein if any change in the requirement is there, that will be captured in the sprint 2. Any changes
Mm-hmm.
to sprint 1, that will be captured in sprint 2. So that is a hybrid model of agile. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally speaking, if it is complex, obviously, right, your 20 days of effort will be wasted. At the end of 10th
Yeah.
day or 11th day, if any change came, this 10 days effort is wasted, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's the reason I said in complex environments, they will not go for agile methodology. But in order to mitigate that, they came up with hybrid model. Hope it answered your
Yeah.
question.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions, please? Yeah, tell me. Sorry.
Mm.
You,
Yes.
you raised a question. You raised your hand again, so I just.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Just it's my by mistake, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Lata is asking how is it different in iterative and agile? A simple thing is, see, I have already defined that in this sprint. Say, suppose for login page itself, I said, right. So sprint one will do on new user creation. Sprint 2 will discuss on the username, password, and submit button. Sprint 3 will discuss on uh, what is that? The forgot password link. So this is how I have defined my agile way, where at the first sprint will be 20 days, second sprint will be 20 days, third will be 20 days. Okay. Now at the first sprint, I am creating a new user page, and at the end of 15th day, where my product development is at the end of the development, user came up with the requirement that I want the gender to be removed. I don't want it. I just want the mobile number mandatory. So that's the requirement change that have come. Now what happens? That is a small requirement. You can go and add it. Now, there's a complex requirement stating that I don't want to have everything in text box. I want everything as a button where I will give, or a drop box where I will give the list of options. You have to select from that. Okay. So now the entire design has to be changed. Now 15 days effort is wasted. All the testers and the developers have to sit back. They have to rechange it, right? So that complex thing cannot be accomplished in the first sprint. So what they will do, they will have to stop it. Okay. So that's the problem in the agile. Okay, that's the problem in agile. Now what they will do in order to do it right, they will sit again, they will discuss and saying that okay, this piece of code will be added in the next sprint, that is sprint 2, along with the username password. Okay, so that will be defined in the iterative or hybrid model, and they will work on it. But in agile, right, sprint 1 is already defined, and that during that 20 days, if it is not possible, they will extend 5 or 6 days, and they will overlap with the sprint 2. Okay, but this is a complex one, right? So that will not be what is it, accomplished in the agile methodology. Okay. Mm, I mean, see, that's the reason. If you say, if people are not following the CMM level 5 standards, then obviously there is every possibility that they'll start with waterfall model and then change it to agile. And frankly speaking, yes, many projects started with waterfall. Now they are slowly moving to agile, right? So there are a lot of projects. My current project has also started in waterfall, and now it is working in agile methodology. Change is good, right? So people are ready to embrace the changes. Hope it answered your question, Renika. Any other questions, please? Okay, so I am done for today. Please be informed that this is the last free session, and my team will get back to you, and we will hope to see you tomorrow from tomorrow. Okay, thank you. And if any questions, right, you can mail us back, or you can mention it in the website also, in the discussion forum. Okay, thank you. Good night and good day for all.